a filmmaker turns 50. Jonathan Weston began his windsurfing, photography, and filmmaking career at the age of 14. Growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, he would become one of the very first windsurfers to discover windsurfing on the East Coast. Ranked among the top of the world in yacht racing, as a windsurfer, he placed 4th in the '79 World Windsurfer Championships, shortly thereafter jumping on the shortboard bandwagon and being one of the first to make the move to Hawaii. He would there become a board shaper for town and country surfboards and designer for UP Sports, pioneering breaks like Sunset Beach on Oahu's North Shore before moving to Maui. It was here that his career shifted to photography, after his first water shots splashed across the covers of magazines and became the advertising campaigns for Neil Pride, F2 and Windsurfer. He would still continue windsurfing in between roles and made the final round of the Aloha Classic Slalom event in 1988. Just as he won Sports Photo of the Year and Top 10 Photo of the Year in Sports Illustrated in 1990, his photography career had been taken over by a passion to show the world his point of view through motion POV 16mm film, carrying a heavy movie camera on his helmet while windsurfing the waves of Hukipa. After promo films for Neil Pride, Gastra, and Simmer Style, his first film, Impact Zone, took the world by storm, followed by the cult film Double or Nothing and Windsurf the Earth. Desiring to recapture the life he lived, Jonathan Weston set out at the age of 50 to document the history of windsurfing and tell the story of the life he lived in Wind Legends.
Being a windsurfer and coming up through the whole history of windsurfing myself, I wanted to share the experience with everyone and the passion that I felt for the sport, and having lived through all these golden eras of windsurfing. Capturing these images and being, as much a part of the sport. I was a windsurfer too, so it wasn't like I just was a photographer making photographs for a living. This wasn't my career, it was my life. I mean, the whole reason of making this movie is not just to show the sport of windsurfing or the colors and the sails flying by, the waves. That's all beauty. But the real beauty of the sport is the people that are doing it, and it's the sport that made them the kind of person they are, and this culture that gave them the fabric of their character. There are a lot of unique personalities in windsurfing. I think the most unique one is Mickey Eskimo, and I was fortunate enough to have won Sports Photo of the Year with this photograph I shot of Mickey from a helicopter. And the reason I think the picture was so good was it kind of captured his spirit, his personality, his kind of wildness, abandon. And not only that, people look at the photograph and they always ask me, how did you take that? Where were you? So it looks like snow, it looks like water, and it looks like Mickey Eskimo. People don't realize how hard water photography is, how many waves you have to swim under to capture one good photograph. You had to line all these elements up, the wind, the sun, the water, the rider, yourself, and all at the right angle for a unique shot. The more narrowly missing me they were, the better the photograph was going to be. I think Drew Campion put it best, that he said Weston likes to place himself between the hammer and the anvil of the impact zone. Hawaii became my home base, Hukipa was my office, so eventually I decided I wanted to show what it was like when I was windsurfing. So I put a camera on top of my head and I went out in the big waves and followed other windsurfers. Just as the center of effort changes on a sail, the center of effort of your body changes by placing a big heavy camera up here. Your balance rises up in your body. So every time you lean, it's a completely different feeling than what you would normally have. Physically, I look back and I think I don't know how I even did half the things I did. I did get in a helicopter crash and I survived it. And a lot of people don't survive helicopter crashes. Put a big crimp in my plans, but People die doing that, and I guess I'm lucky to be alive. But I put myself in situations, every day where I was lucky to be alive. I always follow my dreams. I mean, I was never afraid to be adventurous and to seek after what I wanted. There was nothing that could stop me from doing it. I look back on it and I go, that was the life.